Jana, it's wonderful to welcome you back to Australia, at least virtually. 20 years since we had the pleasure of first meeting you here in Sydney during the 2000 Games. And I trust it won't be too long before we welcome you back to Australia once again. We look forward to your conversation today with our very own John Mangos, a journalist who needs no introduction to Australian audiences. And may I also acknowledge Christos Karas, Consul General of Greece in Sydney, and Georgia Garasiotou, Consul of Greece in Perth, who are joining us on this webinar. Welcome to all. Today's conversation will cover a number of topics that are of interest to Greek Australians, including the challenges Greece has faced and the more recent re-emergence of a stronger Greece, and how we as the Hellenic diaspora may better engage with Greece, both as part of and beyond the events planned for the bicentenary commemorations. John, may I now invite you to commence your conversation with Jana Angelopoulou Daskalaki.
A very kalimera to you. I'm just making sure that I'm unmuted. Kalimera.
Kalimera.
Ambassador
Good afternoon, Australia.
And
good afternoon, Greece.
And
good afternoon, Aussies.
And a very warm Australian welcome to you, Ambassador. Now, I know that Nick says you're affectionately known as, of course, your name is Jana. And I invite you to call me Yanni, and we'll have a good time together.
Okay, Yanni, agreed.
Ella Jana Moore. Firstly, Nick mentioned, of course, you are so well known in Australia. We met very briefly. I don't expect you to remember, but you are known amongst Australian Greeks.
I do actually.
Oh, thank you.
I do actually, Yanni.
Thank you so much. So let's start by talking about your reflections of Australia, your memories. It was a dynamic time for Greece and for you personally.
I should start from Australia because I had the honor to come there privately prior to the Games. My husband, Theodore, who is an admirer of all you Greeks who went to Australia and created a new chapter in Australia's history and in Greece's history, brought me there years and years ago. Do not ask when and where. And we've been to Melbourne, and we've been to Sydney, and we've been to Perth. So I have very vivid memories from that trip. But of course, the highlight, it was when I came because of the Olympic Games. And I ran in Sydney carrying your torch. And I remember it was the first time in my life doing that in Australia, side by side with people from all around the world. That made me so proud. Believe me, Yanni, I have a picture and I put it in my book when I was literally flying, carrying the torch. And of course, when the Greek flag and the Olympic flag, they were just in front of me. And when I heard the crowds cheering, and when I've been among so many Greeks, it was home away from home. And you have to be so proud, not just because of your games, but because you keep our history live. And this is the important thing that we want to achieve through the bicentenary of 2021. Now, the Olympic Games, as you know, they have a great impact everywhere. And because during our Olympic Games, we passed the torch in all 5 continents, Yanni and Nick, now that we're talking, I feel the same sentiment coming back. Why? Because now, again, in 46 countries around the world, there are Greeks who want to celebrate, to remember where we come from, and most importantly, how we can keep walking into the future, how we will keep our memories alive, our history live, well known, and how you, the diaspora, can play such an important role. Back to the roots again. So, Olympic Games, it was a different thing. It was complicated, it was demanding, of course. What we have done, we used a culture of systematic effort. We had a kind of exemplary teamwork, and we were, all of us, totally committed to the goal. Not just the organizing committee, but the citizens, the general public. And this is what we want to achieve now through this effort.
Yes.
It's not just to remind the history. It is to create a common sense of goal.
And I'd like to speak to you in a little more detail about that. But just on the games before we move on to the detail of the bicentennial celebrations, and that, of course, is the reason why we're having this conversation. You can imagine for those of us here in Australia, Greek Australians, how incredible it was for us that 2 consecutive Olympic Games went from our 2 homes, from Sydney to Athens, from Australia to Greece. For you, Jana, it was a different experience. You had the elation of Sydney, the elation of the torch, and then you got on a plane and you went back and you thought, now I've got 4 years of hard work to do.
Listen, the thing is that with the Olympics, we had a hard work, and we wanted again to reintroduce our country and our mentality. And our mentality that maybe for the outsiders is complicated, but we are people, have an origin in a very small country, but we are big. Why? Because we make ourselves known around the world because of our hard work and discipline, if it's needed, and in a way, the way to solve problems, the way that we Greeks find a way to solve problems when they arise. And it's not common in other countries. Sorry, guys, we're very proud of us, and you know that. And about Polymechanos, Odysseus, and all this, we can find the way to tackle the problems and the challenges and so on. Now it's different. You know, Yanni, why it's different? Because you don't have to build infrastructure and facilities. What you have to build, it's the common sense of being on this earth and what is our task and duty for our children also and grandchildren to go on. And we have also to touch the soul, the psyche of the people. And this is something that we want to transcend the society and come back as a cascade of self-confidence. Because this is what we have to achieve also, our path into the future.
So, Jana, as we go into this celebration of 200 years since the Greek Revolution, let's get it in a context. Before we discuss the diaspora, the people of Greece, what does it mean to them and how will you celebrate it in Greece with the people of Greece? It's a huge milestone, 200 years since such a momentous time in history.
We don't celebrate just the revolution per se of 1821. Of course, we want to know more, to celebrate known and unknown facts, fights, known and unknown heroes, but we want also to celebrate, go back and observe our past. Is it only victories? No. Is it only achievements? No. As Prime Minister Mitsotakis, during how he inaugurated your discussions, mentioned, we have to look inside ourselves and see what are the strong points that we have in our character, that it brought us here. 200 years as a state, as a country, organized with laws, with justice, with organization, with everything. But also, what is that sometimes divides us and brings failures, even catastrophes, that even today, some of them we try to heal. So this lesson, actually, it's a kind of exercise going back, evaluate how we acted. Of course, it was γενναιότητα. Of course, it was, we had heroes. Of course, we had a revolution against the Ottoman Empire at the time. Of course, we had followers around the world. We had Philhellenes, who came from so many countries and even lost their lives. But we have actually to reflect and see what are the good points that brought us here and what are the weak, the unfortunate parts of our character. Sometimes the egos. I remember Andrew Oliveris in one of his speeches that he says, this ego is sometimes that brings us back. So the thing is, we just reflect on the past. We are so proud of it, of course. What we have to achieve is to do, in a way, this evaluation and decide what it will be our future from now on. For this cause, for this reason, we didn't create a program as the committee. We went the other way around, the difficult way, if you want my opinion. We wanted the society to come and tell us, I want to celebrate this eventful year this way or that way. I want to organize this or I want to organize that. So this way, we asking the society to come back to us and have the roots of the country telling us how to celebrate. This is how we organize that. And we have a little bit more than 1,800 proposals from all around Greece and from all around the world. 36 of them just from Australia. And remember, we have 318 proposals from around the world, and 36, they are from you. From
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Yes, from associations, from the Orthodox Church, from private citizens, from everybody.
So, Jana, tell us what, before we look at some of the others, because I'm curious how logistically these noble sentiments will manifest once these celebrations begin. What sort of things did the Australians suggest?
Okay, the Australians, and I have here, look at this list. I have 3 pages about, let's say, from works from Greek Australian artists to a commemoration ball of the Messenian Society, from dinner talk to a book publication, from comic book edition of stories related to 1821 for the young children to remember and being close to our tradition, till the Greek Writers' Festival mythologizing context and identity. From a Greece cruise ship and concert at Sydney till what it came from Perth, from a forum of investment opportunities in Greece to the artistic graffiti inspired by the highlights, from a conference with the participation of 1,500 youth to a construction of sculptures commemorating, from a book edition to a photo exhibition. I mean, they are numerous. So,
the list goes on, yes.
Yes, the list goes on. So let me explain something from the beginning, because we have to be practical. Because of the 10-year crisis that happened in Greece, we decided we don't want state funding. that was a kind of important decision. We decided to go with private donations, with sponsorships, with funds from selling products with the emblem of 2021. And this way, in a way, we generated a general interest. So, no state funds. We have sponsorships. And because after the crisis, we have also the pandemic, as you understand, we had, as Greeks, to find ways to find more funds. One of them is a new category of sponsors. Medium, small, and large companies in Greece, they decide to adopt proposals that they come from the public. And when we say a public, it's associations, schools, universities, museums, organizations, city authorities. So they adopt and they put money about all these proposals. Do not forget that there are many proposals that they come from the public, but they are self-financed. And then it's our unique numismatic program. You know, some time ago, we put in circulation the forerunner, and I show it to you. This is a classic picture of Theophilos when Korais and Rigas Phareos get up Greece, and it is an emblematic coin that has a round blue ring around. It's a technique. This is a sponsorship from the Bank of Greece. And now the National Bank sells it everywhere. Even Nick Papas, that you are about the Sydney Bank, you will sell all these coins because this is our, let's talk about money. So through whatever we gain from that, and the whole numismatic program that it will be in circulation now, January, 14 coins, you will see all the parts of history of Greece. 4 golden, 8 in silver, and the rest are the first 2 coins of the Greek state, the phoenix and the drachma. So it will be symbolic. It will be of an exceptional value. And through this fund, we can now support all these proposals that they came to us and make them happen. So this is how it works. And all these proposals, they came to us through a digital platform that we opened in our site. And we asked people in Greece and outside of Greece to submit their proposals. What you believe is the most interesting part of this story? That around 70% of these proposals, they leave a stamp about today and they go on in future. They are sustainable projects and programs that they will stay even when 2021 will end. Why? Because we believe that this 200 years of history has to show something more. How will enter the 3rd century of our existence. And we ask people to suggest actions or things that they will stay there. For example, projects of different kind of energy, projects about awareness of the environment, projects that they teach children about the environment, about the challenges of life, about the 4th industrial revolution, projects that they use technology, digital transformation of museums, digital transformation of city buildings, change of way of seeing people, but they are not in the same fortunate way that we are, that they have disabilities, and how they can walk inside their cities. Also, promotion of the unique products that we have. Promotion in synergies. Different kind of tourism, thematic tourism, show the different parts of the country and the way that you can visit, not just for the sun and the sea, okay, we know that, but because you have an interest in history, because you are part of a university research, because you want to see the way they create the wine, or how the oil comes out of the olive trees. So all these proposals, suggestions, they will be actions, and they will leave projects that they will stay here for 2022, 25, even 30.
So Jana, on that point, and your enthusiasm is contagious. I love your energy and your enthusiasm, but you mentioned the words just then about the environment and the challenges. And hearing these beautiful sentiments, you excite me, and I'm sure everybody who's listening. However, it would be remiss not to mention the challenge of this year and next year, and how COVID is going to interfere with those beautiful plans.
We are good organizers. We have a very good experience from the Olympic Games, because I have with me in my team people they work alongside in the Olympics, and we understand the importance of Plan A, Plan B, and Plan C. So we have alternative scenarios. First of all, the celebrations, all the actions that we prepare, they will go throughout 2021. Probably we'll have some highlights. And we decided that even before the pandemic obscured our lives.
Sure.
So we have alternative scenarios. For example, we have a unique program when 200 young Greeks, men and women, they will follow routes, meaning a lot having to do with the revolution within Europe, because of the Philhellenes, because of Capodistриas, because of the people they supported us. At the beginning, we were saying it will start March. Now we say it will start June. And we have alternative scenarios for each, believe me, and every one of all these actions. This is our obligation.
Of course.
So we plan everything, having in mind that if we cannot do something in March, for example, we can do in May or in June or in July. And the important thing is that it's not just a big concert or an opening ceremony marking this important year in our lives. What is important is the whole year to think, to reflect, and of course to celebrate, and of course to dance and to sing, and to feel that they are bonds among us, that they have to keep us aware of this important year. We are happy, we are lucky to live throughout this marking year, marking what are the challenges of the country, what we have suffered. And you know what I say, Yanni, to people around. This year, actually, commemorating the 200 years of our existence, reminds us of all the difficulties, the challenges, even the wars and the catastrophes, pandemics, earthquakes, all these that our country has suffered. And I tell them, at the time, it was a time when it was no research around. It was a time even we didn't have the way of the communication digitally. We didn't have the technology. We didn't have the doctors. And yet we survived. So we have to be courageous. We have to be really careful, and it will pass. I believe it's a matter of months. And of course, many things change, but this is life. Life is not just to wait and to expect a routine to go on. The mystery of life is that we can go through difficulties, we can transform ourselves, and we can see how much resistant we are, how in a way we can go through the difficulties. So we tell people things like that happen again and again, but we are here.
And Jana, we are here, and those many difficult challenges you just spoke about drove many of our parents and our grandparents to leave their mother country and come to Australia. So we're part of the story. So how do you encourage us? What do you ask of us to do to get onto this train?
You are the people that you have on your shoulders the task, the obligation to make yourselves well known in Australia and around the world. Because of your resilience, because of your hard work, and because of the way that you carry with you this unique past, history, and tradition. You are the ones that you will put the message all around the world that we are proud Greeks. And of course, we serve and we honor the country that we live in, but we have a network of Greeks around the world. Pass on the torch, having to do with the tradition, with our strong history, but most importantly, from our achievements. People like you, all of you that you listen to me, they made us famous around the world. Your hard work in business, in show business, in science, in sports, everywhere, they are proud Greeks that they made us famous. So what we want from you is to go on past this message. We are important because of our achievements, because of our hard work, not just the laurels of the past. We are important, and we decide that we go on this way. So this is a unique way of amphidromos, as we say in Greek, to tighten the bonds between you and us, between us and you. For example, the situation requires also business-like thinking. So how we make your coming here, your investing here easier, because we are talking about the future, how we make this way a win-win situation. So if we want to make ourselves well known, we have to show that we have a country organized, ready to accept Greeks and non-Greeks, that there is a good environment, not just to live in, to invest, to make a kind of business relation, because we're talking about a whole world that we cannot think only about our history. We have to think of ways to live together. And of course, this is the element of our resilience throughout the year. It's an important factor.
In terms
so
of
course,
please,
yeah.
please.
No, go on.
No,
I don't want just to take the stage, only me.
No, I love your enthusiasm so much. But you know, you talked about the challenge of the past 10 years, and you talk about Australians in this diaspora having confidence to come back and invest in Greece and make it win-win. And I think it is fair to say, and I'd like you to expand, Yana, that the way Greece has handled the past 10 years, from its knees now to flying the flag higher than ever before, I think is certainly got to be the passport for that win-win, surely.
The thing is that we had made, probably as Greeks, mistakes also. But the thing is that we have to think also that it was an unfortunate situation, and maybe we didn't receive the help that should be in our country. Our country is a peaceful country, a country who wants to move forward. The country, I mean, that it wants most of all the ευημερία των κατοίκων, people to have a good life, a quality life, live by the international standards, see towards entrepreneurship, about the fourth industrial revolution and everything. The young people, they have to have their chances. This 10-year crisis, Yanni, as you say, left a lot of wounds behind. First of all, we lost a very important part of our capital. And when I say about our capital, I say about the talented, the young people who couldn't find a way to live in Greece, and we lost them. So this kind of year, it will be as well a way to try to gain back these people, or at least to keep the youth of today, the kind of the people that they will create our future here in the country. So when we go around Greece, because I've been to 35 cities up to now till the pandemic stopped us, and we met not just the city authorities, we didn't meet just the VIP people of the city, we met all the factors that they make the society live, people from farmer associations, from universities, from the research programs in universities or in schools, people that they create products in this area and they are proud of it.
Yeah.
And the way that we suggested them to act because of this emblematic year is to make something that it will stay there to create jobs, to create productivity, to create work, to create, in a way, a good environment to stay. This is our bet for us, not to do things and fund actions that they will disappear like a firework in 1 day or 2 days, but to create sustainable solutions to keep also young people working in Greece.
Now, I want to speak specifically about young people in a moment, but you raised something very interesting there. In Australia, we have an expression, never waste a crisis. And it was the diaspora that never wasted your crisis. Otherwise, the Hellenic Initiative itself would not have been formed. And look at the amazing, wonderful work. I know that we're here for the Hellenic Initiative, but this was someone who decided, let's not waste this crisis. Let's call the diaspora together. Let's do something about it.
I'm very proud of you, I have to tell you, because I know what your organization has done and has offered so far. You have to be very proud because you supported Greece and Greeks through many ways. And believe me, you are very much appreciated here in this country, because I know what you have offered about a lot of hypotrophies, what you have helped with in the health programs about social programs, about education, about the way that you ask Greeks to come and get trained in Australia. You have even discussions. So you didn't waste the crisis. And we Greeks in Greece, we are grateful to you because in practical ways, and we say, you supported the country throughout this difficult period.
And we will continue to support. Jana, you're a woman of vision. We know that. You've demonstrated that time and time again. If we have time, I'd like to talk about some of those times in your career, but I can't help but link up now this woman of vision and you've used the expression about your concern of the youth of Greece, and those things for me go together. Your vision, please, for the youth of Greece who have done it so tough.
It starts from the time I wanted to get involved in politics. And when I say politics, I mean about the grassroots democracy that starts from local governments. As you know, the local governments, that they solve the everyday problems. They are more important when I say. And I remember that my daughter at the time, Carolina, she was 3, and she was a very demanding child. And she was telling me, I'm the only child that you don't come every day at the bus stop to have lunch together. And I tried to explain to her that some people, we have to devote ourselves so to make our life better, not just for you, for hundreds, for thousands children. And this kind of mentality followed me throughout my career in Parliament, in the Greek Parliament, that it was very short. But even when I resigned, because I wanted to be, I had to live abroad with my husband. But you people that you live abroad, you understand that the love of the country is always there. We have it there in our heart.
Always.
And I wanted, always. And I wanted to offer through participation in Harvard University or later in Cambridge University, or funding 100 young entrepreneurs to find a way. And because I started from a modest family in Crete, I'm from an island as well. You are not just you, the Castellorizo people, that you are proud about. Actually, I met so many people in Castellorizo when I've been there last September that I was there. And they are so proud of you. And they will show me buildings. This is to this guy who is now wealthy and healthy in Australia. And this belongs to the other guy. And this guy had the marriage of his daughter here. And so on and so forth. So, and because I started from scratch, as we say, like many of us, I understand what's the importance to open a door to young people, not just to let them study. And I have to tell you something here, that one of our emblematic actions, it will be, and I disclose that first time here in you, to imagine, to envision how it will be the life for all different people in Greece in 2040. So what kind of challenges, of difficulties each profession will meet? It has to be a teacher, it has to be a farmer, it has to be a judge, it has to be a policeman, it has to be a ship owner, it has to be a banker. So this way we want to create actually a platform of opportunities where everybody can see how it will be a professor or a teacher or a farmer in 2040. So we are trying through almost everything of our actions to remind people that we have to have a forecast about the future. And when we say forecast, it addresses mainly the youth, how it will be their life, the way, the conditions. And then at that point, when we present all these results, we ask very, very important persons around the world, among them is Andrew Liveris, to come and speak how they see the world and the other countries having to do. Because anymore, every country is not on its own. It's a kind of world when the decisions, they transcend through different societies. And for example, this is some concerns that we have and we want to address. How it will be the life of the citizens 20 years from here. But also all the sustainable solutions that we ask people to find through their actions, they point there to find ways to create different quality of life for everybody. You will ask me, is it enough that 1,800 proposals, they can solve that? These are small revolutions that we need every day. Sometimes it's not enough to have a major revolution. And we Greeks, we are inspired from our revolution. Imagine then in 1821, when a handful of people, they decided to create this war against the Turks. And you see, history sometimes has chapters that they repeat themselves. Even if we want to be dynamic and we are peaceful, sometimes there are challenges that they come. But we stay here. We don't want to change anything because some other people, they look in this hostile way around us. And I tell you that because I was in Castellorizo and I remember the sentiment that I felt when I've seen how the neighbor, this is a kind of neighborhood that had always its challenges, I have to say.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. And I wasn't going to dwell on Castellorizo, and I don't want to be partisan because we have many Greeks here in the diaspora who are not from Castellorizo, but we've become an international story for all of the wrong reasons, haven't we?
You know, I know that, of course I know because I see all the organizations from Messinia or these, or I've been, you know, in Peloponnese, and they told me in so many countries that, you know, some of us, they went to Australia and they excelled and so on and so forth. Listen, I'm not here as a Minister of Foreign Affairs, and my position is not to interfere or take advantage of my position about foreign policy. What I know here in our Prime Minister, the President of Democracy is speaking, it's about the international law and the right to live and prosper in a country without having always the fear of somebody will cheat, okay? Will not accept that. And I know that our government does its best, especially Kyriakos Mitsotakis, in a way to make aware everybody about the situation, about that. This does not mean that we Greeks, we don't know how to keep our houses and our country safe. We prove that again and again and again.
Yes. Jana, let's move on because we have so much to talk about in so little time. You, the person, we know the public you, but lawyer, author, politician, businesswoman, philanthropist, leader of people. Tell us about your journey a little bit. What was the highest moment for you? What was the lowest moment for you?
What I learned, Yanni, so far is you have to value every moment of your life, every victory, but also every mistake. The other day, I was talking to an audience of young women, and I told them, you know, if you ask my experience, never give up. Never take a no for an answer. And this is not my attitude now, but you will say, you, Jana, you are Angelopoulos, you have traveled, you meet heads of state and kings and queens. It's not that. It is that we have to believe that this is a unique life and we have to live the full of it. And the mistakes, I refer to them again and again. You know how many mistakes I've done? Numerous, like everybody. The thing is not to be an observer in life, to be an actor in life, to get lessons from your mistakes, to make fast decisions, and I'm a fast decision maker, believe me, and to be very demanding from me and from the others. Sometimes they say, I'm very hard on my people, on my team, because I'm hard on me. Because when I have a task to do, I know I have a family and I love my family and I try to make it to them the more time that I can. About my 3 granddaughters, that they are a delight to have them, even to hug them for me. And like many people, I miss them so much when we had the restrictions and even now of the pandemic and on the COVID. More important than it is to value each part of the day and to say, I will not get past because it was this challenge, this obstacle. I will not stop because it was a bad decision, because something. The way is to keep walking and to treasure every single moment. Either it has to do with my family, either it has to do with my work. And believe me, I'm not paid for that. You know that. I should accept to serve my country, getting paid. But for me, this is now my life. I give myself wholeheartedly, and I want, sometimes Theodore, my husband, tells me, relax, baby, relax. I mean, it's late evening. You cannot solve this problem now. No, but I have to find a way to pass the message or to make a difficult decision. And you know, this is, now that we speak about the pandemic, it's contagious. You know, the way that you address people, you see them coming back. When I go to people and tell them, this is your life, you have to be very proud. Show your achievements, show your products, show the way that Greeks, we made the history through art, through sculpture, through chirotechnia, through kendima, through magiriki, through everything, all the good parts of ourselves. We have to be proud, value them, and go on in this life.
Jana, I have questions from people who have joined.
Is it enough?
I could listen to you all evening here in Australia, all morning there in Elada, but we don't have the time. But the points you just made, I've got questions from people who have tuned in, and one in particular I think speaks to some of what you've just touched on, because you don't parade necessarily as strong a woman as you are, as a feminist in particular. So I wonder your take. The first female president of the Hellenic Republic was appointed this year. We are proud. We are proud. So I wonder...
We are proud.
Of course. So how does Greece, and this is a question from one of our audience, how does Greece, Jana, fare in the debate over appropriate representation of women in the boardroom and senior executive positions?
This is an ongoing demand, and it has to be an ongoing demand, believe me. I remember throughout the years in, as you mentioned, different chapters of my life, that I was wondering sometimes why we are not more, because we are very practical as women, not because of our sex, but because we have managed different kind of lives around us at the same time. Be a mother, be a grandmother, be a hardworking woman, create a change in the environment, in our country, in our continent, and so on. But because the secret, allow me to say, is not just in the laws, they are laws, is how we take the opportunity by ourselves. They don't want to give it to us, we take it. We take it by force, saying, if I have to offer something, I have to try to be there and decide not just for me, decide for other women that they are not as fortunate, way to create their lives the way that we want. So it's an endless game, and not a game of power. It's a kind of game that it has different factors. Some of them, they just say, we don't need women and so on. I don't speak about generally women. I speak about strong persons that they can make by decision and by hard work a difference around us. And this must not stop. The encouragement comes sometimes because we see women like the President of our Republic, like Madame Lagarde. You see women like the Vice President, the new elected Vice President in the United States, like women also in research, in universities, doctors, women that they are teachers, women that they sacrifice their lives, to help others. We have so many examples. These examples, they have only to encourage us. All of us, women, as I told you at the beginning, we have a way to create through different tasks that we have and obligations, a good life around us. And it starts from our families and parents and brothers and sisters and then children and then grandchildren and relations and friends. We have, because we give birth to life, we have a way to understand also, to understand pain. We have the way to give love, to give more, to share our love with so many around us, and to handle pain and challenges as well. So we must not waste our ability to offer more by saying it's not for me.
Jana, you have no doubt inspired us. You do inspire us. But I know that there are people that must have inspired you. So I'm going to ask you, as we start to wrap it up, some very quick questions. Which author inspired you?
I have to tell you Churchill.
Oh, that's interesting. I would say Kazantzakis. All right, music. What music inspires you?
Finish my answer. You didn't let me finish. If you had read my book, you should see that I finish with Nikos Kazantzakis and about the responsibility. And because that had impressed me, that you have to feel each person has to be responsible for whatever happens in the world. And I say it in my book.
Tell me about the music. Tell me about the music, because I want to have a couple of quick ones.
About the music? About the Greek folk music. I'm a very good dancer, in traditional Greek dances. I remember myself excelling in kritikos, as we say, but I can also dance very good samikos. Wait, maybe we'll have some surprises. You will see the president also dancing as well during the coming year.
I would love to see that, and I would love the opportunity when we get together again to dance with you. But before I hand over for a wrap, political leaders, which political leaders have inspired you?
The leaders who have inspired me are leaders who had sacrificed their life through hard work to help and honor people who had elected and had voted for them. A leader has to sacrifice, has to give the example, has to be a pioneer, and has to show that he or she are devoted to make our lives better. These are the leaders. What I don't want to see are people that they have a political agenda and they can sacrifice the people's lives because for their own good. These people, they must not be on the stage. I'm very strict about that.
And you're very diplomatic. You didn't name anybody.
Maybe it's not good. First of all, some people, when people, they are alive, you give them the chance of continuity. So even if they made mistakes, you tell, okay, he has some more time or she has some more time to correct the mistake. No, I'm speaking about the people who are not in this life anymore. And okay, I have the heart now also of the president of the committee. So, and because we have really good relations with all political parties in Greece, because all of them, they support this effort because this is a national effort.
Of course.
I refrain from saying who I like and who I don't like.
I fully understand. Look, we are almost out of time, Yanamou. Harika para poli. And my great joy now is to hand over from one dynamic and impressive Cretan woman in Greece to another dynamic, impressive Cretan woman in Australia, Director of THI, Dr. Helen Zorbas. Helen, I'm going to hand over to you for a vote of thanks. Yanamou, ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ.
Εγώ ευχαριστώ. Hello, good afternoon, good evening, Aussies. Thank you so much.
Well,
keep it up, everybody.
Yana, as John said, I'm Helen Zorbas. I'm a director on the board of THI Australia, and what a fantastic interview that was. Thank you so much for your generosity of time, but also of your experience in sharing that with us. And as John said, as a Greek Australian with parents from Heraklion, Crete, myself, I'm delighted and proud to have the honour to extend to you a vote of thanks for this extraordinary experience that we've shared with you, and I'm greatly honoured to have that connection with you to Heraklion, Crete. Thanks for the stimulating and thought-provoking conversation with John Mangos. And, you know, I'm sitting here, I knew so much about you, but I'm now even more in awe of the remarkable woman that you are and the remarkable career that you've had so far. Can't wait to see what the next chapter might be for you. You've managed many challenging and demanding roles, and I think you heard earlier that for us in Australia, one of the most unforgettably proud moments was the fact of Athens hosting the Olympic Games in 2004, and we're very grateful to you for all of those efforts in leading that amazing campaign and the organisation of that event for the world, in fact. I think, you know, have had some extraordinarily valuable insights from you and thoughtful reflections that I know I will take with me, and the importance of looking back and taking what was, you know, good in terms of what we have achieved, but also learning lessons from perhaps what was not quite right and how we can do better, and really having, you know, taking the reins and determining our own future. And I think you've inspired us all around those thoughtful reflections, and I particularly, you know, as John said, you turn ideas into action because you've got a strategic vision. We hear your energy and commitment and perhaps Cretan determination in there as well, but also that you're a personal connector, and I've taken that from you as well. I also want to thank you for inspiring us all, but particularly important, I think, as a woman, the fact that you have inspired so many aspiring young women leaders. So I have no doubt that we will have a very successful bicentenary of the War of Independence program of events with you at the helm. But I'm also feeling much more confident about the road ahead for Greece. And the Greeks in Australia are supportive and committed to the efforts to bring Greece into, you know, to flower and to blossom as we all want it to. So we wish you and the Greece 2021 committee every success, and we wish Greece a safe path through the lockdown that it's currently experiencing. And to you, John Mangos, you're not on screen, but you have been and continue to be such a loyal friend and supporter of THI Australia. So we extend our sincere thanks to you once again. With your vast journalistic experience and your effortless style, we could have listened to the conversation with Ambassador Angela for many hours more. So thank you.
Thank you, Helen.
THI Australia is truly delighted that we've been able to make possible for the Greek diaspora to hear directly from two extraordinary leaders. Tonight, Ambassador Angelopoulos and previously Prime Minister Mitsotakis, in the first two Digital Conversation Series webinars. And we look forward to you joining in our next webinar, which is currently being planned for early 2021. And also we look forward to sharing news of our very own Greece 2021 event, where, Yana, you can be in no doubt that we will dance and sing and celebrate with our, in honour of our motherland. Before closing, I'd like to remind our audience that THI Australia has been directly supporting Greece through a range of programs since 2014, from crisis relief to education, health, social services, and employment. And while 2020 has been a challenging year for us all, there have been many for whom this has been a particularly challenging time in Greece. And we at THI Australia are running a winter appeal for Greece to help people at risk this winter in Greece. And we take this opportunity to invite you to make a tax-deductible gift to support our partner charities on the ground and to help purchase some of the basic necessities for those in need, such as survival kits, sleeping bags, food vouchers. I thank you in advance for your support. Ambassador Angelopoulos, John Mangos, to all our audience tonight, thank you for your participation, and we wish you all a joyous Christmas and all the very best for the new year 2021. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If you invite me in Australia, I will come, of course. Needless to say.
We would love to see you.
I expect the invitation. I want to come back.
It's on it. It's in the mail.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.